So the Marvel Rivals devs just released the Ultron trailer, which showed off his gameplay. I'm still a little confused on what I'm looking at with Ultron's gameplay, and I'm also a little worried, but they also told us some of the changes, the balance changes that are going to be coming to team-ups, as well as just characters, and today is a sad day.
We will be nerfing Iron Fist.
Yes! 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 Yes!
Human Touch.
Yes! Yes!
And Psylocke.
No! 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 Fuck! Shit!
I look at the computer say, Floyd said, fuck T.I., fuck Nelly, fuck 50. I'm like, what did he say fuck me for?
Alright, maybe I'm overreacting a little too much. I don't know why they had to go and nerf Psylocke. I really don't. I genuinely think she was like, she's been like one of the most perfectly balanced characters since season 0. They basically haven't touched her except for her ult after season 0. And her ult is it's just not even that good to begin with. If anything, I thought it needed a buff. And I'm talking about higher elo. And lower elo, her ult's not bad. But I'm gonna go through these patch notes, talking about each character individually, and then I'm gonna give my overall thoughts about the patch notes and what I'm like, worried about overall. Because there's one big thing that this patch seems to be aiming for, and I don't like it very much. So starting off, one thing that I've already really like is that they're nerfing Cap's survivability even more, taking 25 points off his health, adding more of a cooldown to his shield, and increasing his ult charge. I think these are all good changes. We'll see how well they do in practice, but I think this is a solid nerf to Cap. Now, this Strange one is kind of interesting. They're not doing, like, very much with him. I think they're doing a nice patch here that, like, kind of bridges the gap between where his damage was, before he got nerfed and, when he got nerfed. It's kind of like in the middle, but they're taking off damage fall off from his, dark magic ability. That's gonna be kind of interesting. I never thought Strange needed to be changed to begin with, I'm not gonna lie, but we'll see how this plays out, because I already hate dying to dark magic, like just randomly out of the blue. So now that it's not gonna have any damage fall off, that's gonna be, I don't know. Emma Frost is getting a nice change here, I think. They're increasing her range, but they're decreasing her shield, and they're increasing the cooldown of her, her E ability where she grabs you and chokeslams you, and they're nerfing the hit that she does, the little kick that kicks you into a wall that basically one-shots you. We'll see if this still does one-shot you. I still think that you're probably going to be pretty much dead if she grabs you, but we'll see. It's going to be it's going to be more situational now than it was before, probably, with these nerfs. But I don't know. I think these are fine changes to Emma. Next we have Groot, and I don't think these changes are going to be very much. Like, the only thing that I see here that's going to be like solid and make Groot less annoying to deal with is the Ironwood wall, because they've already nerfed the health on it, and now they're going to make the cooldown longer. So I think these are good changes to Groot, but we'll still see if he's like as annoying. I don't think he will be as annoying, but we'll see. Magneto, he's basically the same. They also did some stuff to Thor. I don't really give a fuck about Thor, so moving on. Now we move to the Duelists, and Hawkeye, I don't know what's up with them. I'm not one of the people that thinks Hawkeye is busted. I think Hawkeye is a very nice niche character where if you're really good with him, you can really do well and, help your team win. But even the people that are really good with him need to hit his shots consistently, and when you're getting like heavy pressure, whether it be from dive or just constant poke from different angles, Hawkeye can be really difficult to play. And if you're not hitting like headshots at least once every other fight, then you can't really play Hawkeye that effectively. And I like the state where Hawkeye was at. I don't think he needed any changes, but they seem to be nerfing his explosive arrows. Not really, though. You see, I'm no genius, but 16 is a bigger number than 15, and 34 is a bigger number than 32.
That just makes no fucking sense.
And also, if you don't know what his blast arrows are used for, it's to counter pressure when you're like in his face, right? And they're increasing the maximum focus from 70 to 75. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but they're also increasing the charge rate, so his arrows will charge up faster, but they will also lose charge faster. But overall, that seems more like a buff to his charge rate. And with spoiler for a little bit later in the video, they're nerfing dive, right? Like really heavily this season. So Hawkeye is like even better when he was already really good. And Psylocke was nerfed. Like her invisibility is basically like, this is a weird change. I'm not sure I'm gonna like this very much, but I don't know. We'll see. And speaking of characters that I don't know why they would ever keep giving buffs to, why is Hela getting more buffs, but Psylocke got nerfed?
That just makes no fucking sense. I mean, it's just bullshit. Fuck.
Yeah, these devs have like, I don't know, they have a crush on Hela or something. Like, I really don't. Hela has been she's been a top 2 DPS since this game has come out. They've given her like 1 nerf. And mind you, Hela's like my second main character, but they've given her like 1 nerf, and the rest has just basically been complete buffs. I just don't understand. And this is gonna be annoying too, because with this flying meta that I think is about to be upon us, with Ultron especially, but I'll get more into that later, Hela's probably gonna get banned far more often now, and there's not a lot of characters in the game right now, hit scan wise, that can deal with flyers as well as she can. If Hela's banned and there's a lot of flyers on the other team, it's really hard to deal with them. Human Torch, they're just completely nerfing him, which is great. I like all these changes that he got, you know, decreased survivability, less, you know, cooldown on his really heavy hitting abilities. I still don't like the shield that he gets from diving, but you know, it's better than nothing. Plus they're also nerfing his team up with Invisible Woman. Iron Fist nerf, another thing that I really wanted, I think a lot of people really wanted. It seems the devs are making the town hall a little bit more expensive, so they're lowering the amount of bonus health he gets like multiplied for every hit, and they're lowering the amount of bonus health that he can get in total. He also can't turn into the human helicopter anymore, or maybe they're not saying that they're like getting rid of the flying thing with this punching thing, it just says they're removing some of the distance. We'll see how this is gonna actually like, you know, affect anything. And his cooldown reduction also got nerfed when he's using his left click, or whatever button it is on the controller, the primary melee buttons. I think these are all good nerfs. I think they're nerfs that probably won't make Iron Fist as bad as he used to be, but I think the really good Iron Fist players will still make him annoying, but not as annoying as he was this season so far. Iron Man, they're not really changing much about him. The only major thing here they're changing here is the armor overdrive bonus health. I don't think it should have gone down to 50. I think Iron Man's already really vulnerable. I think they should have just kept the bonus health he got to 100. I don't see why they would change that really, but you know, I suppose I might, you know, be happy they're making this change with, again, what I think is going to be a kind of a flying meta in this next season. His damage nerfs that he's getting don't really matter because he's a team up anchor now, so he's just getting, you know, 10% more damage, so these nerfs to his damage don't really matter. Namor is also getting nerfed. His bubble ability is now on a 20-second cooldown, which is nice. Gives more counters than Namor, but they are buffing his ult, or maybe not buffing it. It's more like a mediating to his ult. I think this means that he actually won't be able to one-shot with Luna. Okay, let's do some quick math here. 180 times 0.4 is 72. 250. Okay, so it'll still one-shot 250 health characters, but not 275 characters. They're also giving his squids more damage range. So I don't really know if this was a Namor nerf, I guess, necessarily. It was more, again, just kind of like a mediator. He's going to be more diveable, but he's also going to do a little bit more on the offensive side now. But remember, dive is getting pretty heavily nerfed this season, so it's going to be a little bit harder to contest Namor unless you're like, you know, a Flyer or Hela or Hawkeye. Now to the Psylocke nerfs. Like I said earlier, I think it's a little bit of an overreaction. They're not really nerfing her too hard. I don't like the stealth, her invisibility change. I don't like that at all, because as a Psylocke player, it's already fucking hell trying to solo dive with her. So now we have less time in invisibility, and her shurikens are gonna do us a tiny bit less damage. Again, I just don't know why. I really don't know why they needed to change her. She was fine. Squirrel Girl is getting just basically more ammo, less cooldown, and they're apparently optimizing the user experience of Squirrel Blockade, Tail Bounce, and Unbeatable Squirrel Tsunami. I don't know what exactly any of that means, but we'll see, I guess. They're nerfing, but also buffing Star-Lord. They're giving him more range on his ult, but they're also making his ult take longer to get. Star-Lord wasn't really that crazy this season after his last nerfs. He's still really good, but he's not like you know, I don't think he needed this nerf, I'm gonna be honest. And Storm is getting a buff to her ult for some reason. And this is really shit. I don't like this change at all. And it's for a very specific reason. So, like, it's just ult combos. Not only is she can combo her ult with Jeff now, which is funny, but it looks really fucking stupid. But on top of that, she can also combo her ult with Human Torch still. So, that shit's... I really don't want to play against that. We're gonna be playing against a flaming Jeff NATO at some point in this season.
Yes, sirree. Thought about killing myself.
Punisher's getting slight buffs too. There's nothing really crazy here. He's getting a bit more ammo. He's doing a little bit more damage. Less slow on his ultimate ability. I think these are nice changes to Punisher. He's not that good, and I think he kind of needed a buff. However, he is getting there. There's not going to be any more infinite ammo, so that's going to be kind of a big hit. So we'll see if these changes actually make him, like, you know, good enough to not need infinite ammo. But now we move on to Jeff, the Land Shark Strategists. So Jeff's like his primary fire is not going to be doing damage to enemies at 70 damage per second. That's interesting, because if you really think about it now, Jeff's damage is basically 10 less per second than Wanda and Cloak and Dagger, but he also has to aim. But also they changed how his right click works now, where you have to charge it up for it to do like damage, but it also launches and like CCs enemies, and they increase the damage. So I don't know. I mean, Jeff's ult is still, I feel like Jeff's ult would still hold him back kind of, but maybe not, because he can combo with Storm now. But at the same time, you're going to be needing to use 2 ults when they're the other team's probably only going to need to use 1 support ult. So you're essentially using a DPS ult and one of your support ults. These changes are weird because the next couple of changes are basically, they're nerfing his survivability, which is a big part of his kind of niche playstyle that he already had. But I'm happy about that, because these little fucking terrorists are annoying to deal with, and, you know, people on my team seem to think they can do it, but they can't. But they're basically making it so that Jeff can't backline anymore, but they're also buffing his damage while nerfing his healing. Yeah, this is weird. I don't know what they're trying to do with Jeff. And he also has a team up with Venom now that gives him... that makes him, like, you know, latch on to people with symbiote goop and heal them. I don't know what they're doing with Jeffrey here. This is odd. I don't really think he's gonna be very played next season with these changes, because they've kind of just really heavily nerfed his kind of backline play style, and they've also nerfed his healing. Luna is getting a buff but a nerf, so she's gonna do more damage and healing. She's gonna get more bonus health if she hits an enemy with her freeze, but her ult is gonna take longer to get. I don't understand this. I really don't. I don't mind the changes to her damage and survivability, because Luna's already pretty vulnerable. I don't think she needed the 50 bonus health, because she already gains health when she just using her snowball, even if she doesn't hit it. I don't understand why they don't just nerf her ults to 8 seconds instead of 12. They don't need to make it take longer to get. They just need to nerf the time that it lasts. And Rocket is, they're just slightly nerfing the amount of healing he does, I guess. There's nothing really too crazy here. Now moving on to the team ups that I haven't already talked about. This is another thing that just buffs Hawkeye. I don't know why they're doing this with Hawkeye, but they are, and they're giving him a freeze arrow now, which is basically an AoE. Yeah, this is not good. I don't like this for Hawkeye. This is gonna be scary. It's gonna be really scary, because Hawkeye freezing people in place. Ooh, I don't know about that one, Chief. This character might be a little busted this season, just a little bit. Black Widow, they keep trying to give her more, and I do not think I don't think this is anything, like, looking at what this team up does, it just doesn't look anything, like, crazy. It's not bad, but it's also not, like, wow, we need to play Black Widow now. But Rocket and Penny's team up, oh my god, this is gonna be cancer. Dude, this many mines running around, plus his fucking res beacon is gonna be protected by mines, too. Oh my god. This is... that's gonna be annoying. That's gonna be annoying. Ultron and Iron Man's thing is, I mean, we don't know what Ultron's nano ray ability is really like, so maybe this is a good team up. Iron Man gets a 5% damage output. Now, the rest of the team ups I don't really care to talk about, but I do want to talk about the Spider-Man change that they just made. They got rid of Spider-Man's Venom team up. This is incredibly dumb. I'm not even joking. I literally just finished up a video script 2 days ago, right? Basically discussing like, you know, casual players versus competitive players and like, you know, just that whole topic and how it impacts games and yada, yada, yada. And one of the things I brought up was how devs will listen to casuals and it can be a detriment to the game, like the actual quality of the game, because casuals tend to not know what they're talking about, right? I'm gonna go more into that in that video, but it's actually insane to me that the devs actually decided to listen to the people trying to say that Spider-Man needed to be nerfed. This is I don't even play Spider-Man like really like that. I only play Spider-Man for fun, and oh my god, it's genuinely so hard to get kills in like higher elo with Spider-Man and be consistent with this character. Venom team up is the only thing that made him semi-consistent, and I mean very semi, and now it's just gone. And he hasn't gotten any changes himself. That's just, I don't know. I don't know why they're nerfing Spider-Man. I think he's genuinely like probably D tier now without that team up. He's like right there with Black Panther now. And this is gonna go for all of the dive characters actually. And this is my final kind of thought on this patch. It seems like they just want to say fuck you to dive, to be honest. Not seems like, they are. Like, dive this season is if people still complain about it after this, I don't know. I mean, you gotta uninstall the game. This season, they added so many counters to dive, right? Even in their dev talk, like the dev vision they just dropped about this patch, they literally were like, yo, that, you know, there's actually counterplay for these characters and things you can actually do about it, so you guys can stop whining because you suck at the game. But even after saying that, they're like, well, we know you guys are a little bit slow in the head, so we're gonna nerf dive completely and just make it irrelevant now. The meta now is just straight up poke. Like, it's basically what it was. I can't say what it was. This is basically season 0 right now. Hawkeye and Hela are going to be probably the best DPSs in the game. Psylocke is probably the only diver that's actually going to be viable now, and she got nerfed, right? Like, her survivability is worse. It's going to be harder to dive with her, especially solo, and most of the time now it's gonna be solo. Like, Jeff got nerfed, Cap got nerfed, Iron Fist got nerfed, Spider-Man got nerfed. Pretty much every dive character is nerfed. And I don't mind them nerfing like Iron Fist and Cap, because I think that's the kind of dive that does need to be nerfed. The kind of dive where it's like, oh my god, these people do not die. But just getting rid of it completely, I think is going to cause a similar issue that we had in Season 1, where triple support was a really big thing. And now with Ultron being added to the game, I think triple support is going to be, and maybe even depending on how good Jeff is, I think triple support's going to become a really big thing again. And with dive not being like, you know, there anymore, it's gonna be much harder, and it's gonna be really poke heavy. Like, you know, I think flyers are gonna be a big thing. I think, you know, Hawkeye and Hela are gonna be a big thing. The meta's gonna be really pokey, you know, people pod shotting from angles. It's going to be super aim intensive, I think, which is going to be really difficult, I think, for controller players especially. And there's not going to be a lot of pressures on healers anymore, right? Because dive is just so shit. Like, and I'm not saying that, you know, poke, it can obviously give pressure to healers, but it's not as, like, consistent. Like, you know, you're not making a strategist, you know, job hard. You're not giving them as much pressure as you can with poke as you could with dive. So I just think that the way the meta is going to be this season is going to be, I think fights are going to be a lot, like, lasting a lot longer. I think the pace of the game is going to slow down drastically, and I just don't know if I'm going to like it. I really don't know if I'm going to like that. We will see. Like, it's not like I'm not going to be able to adapt to this, because again, Hela is my second most played character, and I'm pretty solid with Hawkeye, even though I haven't played him as much. But I don't know. I think I prefer. It basically just feels like the Season 0 meta, but with no dive. But I don't know. Maybe it'll be different when, you know, everything is in practice and everything is, you know, actually, we'll see how it is in gameplay. All I can say is I'm scared, right? I'm just scared that I'm not gonna like playing the game very much going forward with how it seems the new meta is going to be. Let me know what you guys think of the patch. Let me know what you're most excited for. Let me know if you're excited to play Ultron. I think Ultron looks really fun to play. I like that he's not a, you know, second support. He looks like a lot more of a Loki, Adam Warlock-esque character. Loki's obviously good as a second support, but Ultron looks more like an offensive strategist rather than a heal bot one, which I think is nice. I think strategists needed more of things like that. You know, more characters that are, you know, genuinely fun to play. So I don't think this patch is gonna be, you know, I still could like this. You know, there's promise for certain things. But again, I'm just a little scared. I'm just kind of scared. But yeah, that's gonna be the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and yeah.